I think we're going live. Yeah, we are live. Hello, everyone. Sorry about the 1 minute delay. I had some problems setting up the stream because I got a green screen in here now, as you can tell. Ah, crap. Okay, let me turn it off. Let me do some mic adjustments. I don't know why it's not moving my mic. Wish I had time to do this beforehand, but I didn't. Okay, should be good. Uh, Hello everyone. Sorry about that weird introduction. Welcome back to another movie discussion, which I did not expect, by the way. I put that on the poll. I did not expect you guys to actually vote for that and get in on another movie discussion. But hey, I'm not complaining. I'm happy to do another movie discussion for you guys because I enjoy these. These are some of my favorite streams to do, so I am not going to complain. As you can see, as I mentioned briefly earlier, as you can hear, I got a green screen now. I'm gonna try to incorporate this green screen in almost all of my future streams, just mixed up a little bit. This I'm probably gonna use this for all my movie discussion backgrounds because I do like this little effect. And I was originally just gonna have a white background, but I changed my mind because I figured, why don't we do something different every single time? Um, so we can have different things going on for all of the live streams. So you know the drill. I gotta promote it and everything like that. Won't take long, and then we can dive right into the live stream. I really wish I was able to start this sooner. I'm sorry about that. That is my bad for slacking. That's my bad for slacking. Uh, and but it's all set up now. Let me post this on my Discord real quick, and then we can begin discussion. Okay, let's see how many people are on. We got 2 people watching. Cool. All right, everybody. 2 people. Let's jump right into this. Looking forward to doing this. I love these. So we're going off of films that I've watched recently, and this is a movie that I watched really recently, The Truman Show. This is a movie I've been told to watch multiple times by many different people. Most recently, and the person that got me to watch the film is someone that goes by the name Neil. He told me, "Yo, check out this movie. It's good." Because yeah, I was asking him for some movie recommendations, and he said, "Well, watch The Truman Show," and I did, and I was really blown away by how good this movie really was. I mean, I expected it to be good, but it was really, really good. Uh, I went in thinking, reality TV show uh, plot maybe could have been silly or whatever, but I really changed my mind when I got to watch this movie because I really love the concept. They ran with that concept really well of um, a reality TV show. This guy's whole life is just for entertainment purposes. Reality TV show, everything's fake that he's seen, and they went more into the psychological aspect of it, of what this really means to somebody to live this life. And that's what I really liked about this movie, is that it had intriguing moral questioning as well. It had you questioning yourself in many different scenes, like, well, that person has a point, well, this person has a point, especially between that exchange between what's her face and the leader dude. I forgot their names. I'm not good with names, guys, but that exchange of dialogue was really nice because on one side of the coin you had someone saying that we're giving Truman the best life he can give. He has like the ideal perfect life. What's wrong with that? And then you had the other side of the coin that says you're basically being a puppet to him. You're using him as a robot. You're using him basically as someone just a clown to entertain people out there, and his whole life is just a big joke, basically. And both of these moral uh, dynamics create for a really intriguing concept that just adds to this movie, I really think. Also, like Sean Reimer said, this is Jim Carrey. This is one of Jim Carrey's best movies. This is best movie I've seen by Jim Carrey. I really loved Jim Carrey's performance in this movie. He channels his charisma as, you know, Truman, that he's been brought up to be and act like, but he also has those dramatic moments because he's human. They are treating him like he's basically just a robot used to entertain people, but he is human, and nobody can change that. Also, the ending is fantastic. That's one of my favorite movie endings because I just love, like, it. He goes out into the open world, but it leaves it up for interpretation for the audience. Like, it doesn't show exactly what happens to Truman after he leaves, but I think that's one of the most admirable qualities about the film, is that it leaves it up to the audience's imagination to decide what happens to Truman out there. It could be good, it could be bad. Who knows? Because the world lies ahead of him, you know? Also, the creative setting. I love the setting in this movie. It was like an unsettling utopia. Like, everything was too perfect. You know, something cool about this setting is that I actually been here. I've actually been to this filming location several times. There's a record store that I go to there all the time. And, yeah, it's a great place. And I didn't even know it was filmed here. But when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I was there. Like, I've been there several times. So that was really cool to me. Also, another thing I really liked about this movie is that the cinematography was really good. I think it created the feeling that you were an observer of Truman and kind of place you in that chair of the spectacle of, you know, everybody else in the world watching Truman. Kind of puts you in that whole little world. Overall, yeah, I'd say this is a phenomenal, thought-provoking, detailed movie. I wasn't expecting this movie to be this good, but it really was. It was a 10 out of 10 movie. This movie was amazing. Yeah, Truman Show. Definitely check it out. Really good movie. Really thought-provoking movie. Check it out. All right, this is another movie I saw recently. As you can tell, I've been watching the classics recently. Next, we got Goodfellas. Now, this is another movie I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect when going in. But I like doing that. I like going in movies blind. Like, not knowing what it is, not knowing what it'll bring to the table. Just sitting down and watching it. And honestly, I think that's the best way to watch a movie for me. Because I got a good kick out of this movie. The biggest thing I loved about this movie is probably the insanely memorable cast of characters. I mean, they all have strong personality. Every single one of them. We have Tommy, we have Henry, we have all of these great characters that add so much to the movie. The character development is also exceptional. Like, for example, we see Henry sink his teeth into the gangster life, and he sinks his teeth too deep to the point where he can't get out even if he wants to. As you can tell from Henry earlier in the movie, he was tired of his normal life. He was tired of the the plain boring life. And then he went through all of this mess. He went through all of this trouble to put some difference into his life. And in the end, it got him back in the same place he was before. He ended up going back to a normal life under witness protection program. Basically changing nothing. But you could tell through certain points in this movie, he really wanted to get out. But he eventually did, and he didn't like it. So, this movie, I think, is a movie of loss, because everybody in this movie loses something in some shape or form. What's another one? He can't get... Opening scene... Oh, man, this opening scene, man. This opening does a great job setting the tone of the movie to follow. This is probably one of my favorite opening scenes. Like, when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this is badass. I love that opening scene. It was great. The narration is also great. I like Henry's narration. It makes the movie feel grand. It gives like some added details to the movie that's pretty nice. Of course, not every movie needs narration, but it worked for this movie very well. Also, whoa, I gotta say this. The music in this movie. I adored the music in this movie. Great music, and it mirrors the emotion of the scenes perfectly. Like, every single scene, like, all the music is just perfectly synced with the emotions that the scenes are trying to convey. And it is just great. It's really great. You can tell that this movie was just tons of effort was put into it. It's just great. All right, overall, I'd say this is a masterpiece. Honestly, this is a 10 out of 10 movie. I can't really think of any big flaws about it. I can't think of any flaws about it really, off the top of my head. So yeah, I'm just gonna give this a 10 out of 10. All right, Goodfellas, check it out. Oh yeah, this is a classic right here. Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've been waiting to watch this movie my whole life, man. I've really been waiting to watch this whole movie my whole life. When I was little, believe it or not, I I listened to the "Let's Go the Time Warp Again." Sorry about my terrible singing, but you know, the Time Warp song. Now that movie I listened to a lot, especially on Halloween, and I love that. No, not movie, song. That song I listened to a lot, especially on Halloween, and I always ask, like, why can't I watch the movie? I asked my dad, I want to watch the movie. He said it's too inappropriate. And I never understood what he meant until I sat down and finally watched the movie. Because, yeah, it's not the most appropriate movie in the world for a young kid to watch. I could only watch the time warp scene, I guess. That was the only movie appropriate for me. But getting around to watch this movie, I found it very enjoyable, especially the soundtrack. The soundtrack stood out to me the most. In fact, listening to the soundtrack after this movie, I got home, went on Spotify, and I popped on this soundtrack. I love how the dance numbers are nice and they're danceable, but they have those dark undertones to it. That is really cool. And one thing you gotta say about this movie, and it's obvious, but I gotta point it out. It's weird, it's surreal, it's bizarre, but all of those qualities make this movie better. It makes it stand out. This movie is insanely unique and creative in many different ways. It's unpredictable. There's so many random scenarios that just get thrown at you. Like, for example, that scene where just Meatloaf shows up and you're like, it's Meatloaf. What? But it works. That's the thing. All these random things that get thrown at you, they work. They're not unexpected. They don't not fit. They fit well into the movie. So yeah, this movie is also insanely rewatchable, and it's fun to watch with others. Because when I first watched this movie, I watched it at a party, and had a blast. This movie is a must-watch with friends. Definitely watch this movie with friends to get the best experience out of it. But whatever way you choose to watch it, I'm sure it will be an enjoyable experience. So overall, this was a solid movie. I know a lot of people give it a 10 out of 10, but I'm probably going to have to give it an 8 because it was not perfect, but it was definitely not, terrible, if that makes any sense. Because like I said, I already enjoyed this movie, so why would I give it a bad score? It's an 8 out of 10. All right? It's a great movie with minor imperfections that bring the score down. So, 8 out of 10. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Definitely check out this movie, especially with friends. So, yeah. Oops. Sorry about that. All right. Ooh. This movie coming up. The Green Mile. Wow. Okay. Hold on one second. I think we're having some connection problems. I apologize for that. Okay. I think I fixed it. Hope so. It says it's on green. Okay. Hold on, let me get a drink of water real quick. Okay, so The Green Mile. This is another movie where I went in blind, not expecting, not exactly having a full idea of what to expect, but I am so glad I went in. This movie's long, but it feels short because it's just an experience all the way through. It has such an emotionally gripping narrative, has emotionally gripping characters. They strike at your emotions in many ways. If you want to see a movie that perfectly encapsulates many, many different emotions and many different scenes and ways, then watch this movie, because this movie has so many different emotions. I swear, I think it touches upon every single emotion out there. All right, this movie has a lot. It's a roller coaster, really. It really is. Wonderful performances, by the way. I have to mention this. The acting is just incredible. Incredible acting. Tom Hanks and Michael Duncan. Man, they leave you at the edge of your seat with these incredible characters, you know? Just great stuff. All right, and that, man, it is really sad. I should have mentioned this when I was talking about my movies in the last movie discussion stream. I should have mentioned some more sad movies, and if I did, I would have definitely mentioned The Green Mile, because this movie almost had me cry, because it hurts, you know. It hurts in some parts, especially that ending. Yeah, that ending, Mr. Jingles. Yep, that ending hit hard. Another great thing about this movie is impressive cinematography. The stills could be art. You could just take a pause at any single point in this movie, and it could be considered art. That's how good this movie looks. Overall, all I gotta say about this movie is just a beautiful film that captures so many different emotions in so many different ways, and it's beautiful, man. Definitely give it a watch if you can. I'd probably give this movie another 10 out of 10. I'm going to give another 10 out of 10 because why not? 10 out of 10. I don't know how I could give this movie any score lower than 10 out of 10. All right, let me check the chat real quick. I see some people talking in there. Trent Willis says, hi. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for joining the stream, Trent Willis. I hope you have a great day as well. Brady says, a true gangsta. I assume he was talking about Goodfellas. Yeah, true gangsta. That whole movie is true gangsta. So yeah, chat is red. I'll try to check you guys the chat every single time after I'm done talking about the movie, because I see you guys' chat, but I'm in the middle of talking about the movie and I don't want to stop what I'm saying to answer your stuff. So I'll just do it like every single movie. After I talk about a movie, I'll go to your guys' comments and see what you have to say. All right. Okay, so we went from great movies. I wanted to include a bad movie in here, because it seems like all I talk about in movie discussions is good movies, but I want to mix up the bag a little bit. I want to talk about some trash movies, all right? I'm only going to include one trash movie in here, but if you guys want me to include more bad movies in movie discussions, let me know. Man. My mom grew up with this movie. No, not this movie, with the book. My mom grew up with this book, and, you know, she said, we got to go see this movie. And at first I was like, okay, this movie looks all right. It doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look amazing. So I should definitely, I shouldn't definitely check it out, but, you know, it wouldn't hurt going to the theater and watching this with my family. Was I wrong? Boy, was I wrong. This movie was just a mess. The plot was an unstable mess. It just went in so many different directions, and it never found its proper ground. It seems like it couldn't tell what it wanted to do with itself. Like, it was just inconsistent, all over the place movie, I swear. And these characters, These characters, dude. The characters were just forgettable and terrible. Okay. So, I'm going to talk to you guys about one of the worst character moments I've ever seen in a movie ever. Okay. So, there is a scene where they literally introduced a character assuming the audience already knew who it was. When I first saw this scene, I was like, am I missing something? Did I miss some dialogue? Did I miss a whole scene? I didn't go on a bathroom break. What? I was just so confused. I was just out of my mind. I was like, what? Turns out it was just terrible writing. And they couldn't even bother to introduce a character to the audience. Yeah, that's right. Whew. And after I saw that moment, I was like, okay, this movie's gonna suck. And yep, what do you know? The rest of the movie was a train wreck. It's just the whole movie felt like a cheap, bland, uninspired movie. It felt like a Hallmark movie, honestly. It did. It felt like a made-for-TV movie, not a movie that you would put in movie theaters. All right. And also, it was unbelievably boring. I remember when I saw this movie in theaters, I was literally like squirming in my seat because I just wanted to get out of the theater. I wanted it to be over. I did not like this movie one bit. And I would not recommend this movie. Do not watch it. Even if you like the book. My mom says one of my all-time favorite books. The movie was a horrible mess. Yes, it was. Basically, the one word I gotta say to describe this movie was just mess. It was just a mess. Okay. Wrinkle in Time. We got the bad movies out of the way. Now we're gonna jump into the good movies. Let's go. All right. First up on good movie list coming back up, we're gonna talk about why did I not know how to speak Toy Story? Toy Story. Now, I love this movie in many different ways. I love this movie because I grew up with it, and I love this movie because it's just a great film. I remember watching this movie all the time. The first two movies were such personal movies to me as when I was little because I watched them so much. I got the Woody action figure. I got the Buzz Lightyear action figure. I adored these movies when I was a kid. And I still love these movies to this day. There's just so much heart, passion, and dedication that shines in this movie all throughout. And it stands the test of time, despite animation flaws. Now, I know many people are going to be like, okay, the animation looks weird. It looks creepy. It looks uncanny. It's weird. But for me, you got to put this in perspective, all right? The animation holds merit as a feat. This is the first full-length 3D animated movie put into theaters. Put that into perspective, and I think you'll find it impressive with that in mind. I certainly did when watching it in retrospect. The animation is impressive for the time. And it's not like the animation is so bad that you just can't watch it. Because the animation does have character. The animation does have personality. It's not like it's just terrible animation. It's great animation, all right? It's just dated. That's all. It's also a fun movie, all right? This movie is just so fun. It's a blast to watch. It really is. And like I said this before, but I love these characters. Every single one of these characters has such great personality that just shines all throughout. All right, you have Woody, you have Buzz Lightyear, you have all these great characters. Even the side characters are admirable and memorable characters. That's how good the characterization is in this movie. Really, it's great. Overall, oh crap! I gotta say the voice acting. Love the voice acting in it too. Overall, I'd say this is a phenomenal piece of animation. And it's still going to stand the test of time, despite what people say about the animation. It's still going to stand up against time. And it's gonna be relevant for a really long time. So, yeah. Great movie. Okay. Next up, we got Air Force One. This is a movie I did not watch recently. This is a movie I actually watched a while back. Uh, I don't want to say this again, but I didn't know what to expect when I went into this movie. I watched this movie because I saw Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford is one of my favorite actors. I love them in I love them in Star Wars. I love them in Indiana Jones. I love him in almost every role he portrays. So of course, when I saw that Harrison Ford lead as a lead in this movie, I had to check it out, and I expected him to do a great job, and he did. He definitely delivered performance-wise. He does a great job playing the President of the United States. Great work, Harrison Ford. And biggest thing about this movie, it's action-packed. It's tense all throughout. It's just so much going on. It's craziness. But it's controlled chaos, you know? It's controlled chaos because there's that build-up and that release to the violence and chaos, you know? And it's done well. And there are some parts that get a little dull. There's some weird dialogue here and there. But honestly, people give this movie too much slack in that regard because I don't think those things really destroy the movie to be a bad movie. I don't think it blows the movie to too low of a bar. I'd say overall this was a great movie. It was certainly fun to watch. It certainly had me at the edge of my seat, and it certainly had me invested. I wasn't bored by any scene in this movie whatsoever. In fact, I wouldn't say there's any boring moments. That's one of the best qualities about it. It's not boring at all. It keeps you entertained throughout the entire thing. So yeah, Air Force One. I'd recommend this movie. I wouldn't say to jump up, watch it now, but if it comes in the back of your mind and you're like, okay, what movie should I watch? Check out this movie. It's worth the watch, I'd say. Okay, so that's the end of my notes, but I have some more movies listed, so we're going to talk about those movies. I need to get pictures of them first because I need to stay consistent with that. And if you guys want to, you can recommend some movies and I will talk about them if I've seen them. I'm not going to talk about movies I haven't seen in my life before. Okay. Next up, Isle of Dogs. I think I've mentioned this movie before on my channel many times. I'm pretty sure I have actually. But this movie caught my attention because I really liked how it looked. It presents really well. Like, this looks like a very stylistic and neat movie, and it was. My favorite aspect about this movie is just the really impressive animation. I love the animation they did in this, with the puppeteering, the detailed sets. I love animation like this. It's wonderful. And they certainly did a good job at executing this type of animation, as it was a really enjoyable movie. I remember when I went to see this movie, my dad didn't know what to expect. He was kind of like, what is this movie? This movie looks weird. But I wanted to give it a chance. I like seeing new movies in theaters that I think look really nice and really good, unique, interesting, different. And this movie was different and was unique and was insanely creative. So yeah, that's about all I got to say about this movie. It's a great work of animation. Of course, it has a pretty solid plot. I mean, the plot is pretty simple, but they use it well, and has good characters, of course. So yeah, check it out if you get the chance. Isle of Dogs. Great movie. Isle of Dogs. Okay, what do I have listed next? I have why? Okay, I'll talk about it. I can't. Why did I list this? Whatever. I'll talk about it. Goosebumps 2015. Now, this is another thing that's personal to me. Goosebumps as a whole, just in general. I grew up with that crap. All right, I really did. I read the Goosebumps books all the time. Like when I was talking about my thoughts on books, I Goosebumps was probably the books that I read the most. I love those books a lot. So when I saw this movie come out in 2015, my Goosebumps interest kind of went down a little bit, but due to that nostalgia factor, I wanted to check out this movie. I wanted to see what it had to offer. And plus, Jack Black was in it. So I had to check it out. And it was a fun ride. It wasn't anything exceptional. It wasn't a masterpiece or anything. But it was, a fun watch. It wasn't terrible or anything. It had some bad dialogue. Actually, a lot of parts. It had a lot of bad dialogue, which brought it down a good deal for me. Oh crap, I forgot to give Isle of Dogs a score. 8 out of 10. Okay. Moving on. Goosebumps 2015. So this was a fun ride. I'd say the strongest point about this movie is probably the monsters. I really like the monsters. They did a good job realizing these monsters into their own different way for this movie. And I liked it. And of course, my favorite out of all the Goosebumps, Slappy. I love Slappy. So seeing him in this movie was really a joy. Like I said, not an amazing movie, not a fantastic movie, but it's a good movie. It's fun to watch, and it's just fun. That's what I'd say. It's just a fun movie. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I'd say that's a fair score to give this movie. Yeah, 7 out of 10. Goosebumps 2015. So that's all the movies I have listed. But if you guys got any more movie recommendations, throw them out because the stream's not that long. So let me think of some movies. I went through those movies too fast. I should have slowed it down a bit. Oh, I know a movie I could talk about. This is a movie I actually watched pretty recently. I don't know why I didn't even have this listed. The Runaways. The Runaways are a classic band. I like The Runaways. Their debut album is great. And of course, they got Joan Jett, which is just iconic, and Lita Ford, great guitars, Yeah. Runaways are a great band. So that is what caught my attention immediately. And when I saw this movie on Netflix, I was like, all right, you got Joan Jett, you got the Runaways, let's check this out. Now, it was more so like a typical biopic. There wasn't anything like new or exciting they really added to the mix of this film. It felt like pretty much just like every other movie biopic. You had the asshole producer or director or whatever that helps them go along with their music. You had the drugs, you had the sex, you had the alcohol, the typical stuff that didn't really add anything to it. But hey, that just might be the story, which is perfectly fine, and I can't get mad at them giving an accurate depiction. But doing research, I saw that the movie wasn't entirely accurate and that it actually didn't show everything accurately, which is not a shocker. But it did say from the bandmates did say that they found it adequately accurate. So I can't really give it too much slack for having the typical movie biopic elements, Performances were great in this movie. I love the performances of Joan Jett, Jerry Carey. Did a great job with those performances. That's about all I gotta say about this movie. Runaways are a great band, love them, but this biopic felt a little didn't really offer anything new. Like an example of a great biopic would me to be like Control, because it has many different elements and aspects to it that make it stand out as a movie. This one didn't really, but it was still fun. It was still a good watch. So I'm probably going to have to give this one a 7 out of 10. Yes, another 7 out of 10. You heard it from me. Another 7 out of 10. There you go. Runaways film. Dang, okay. I need more movies. Gotta think of another movie to talk about. Did I ever talk about Harry Potter on these streams? Did I? Did I even talk about Star Wars in the stream? See, there's some movies that I think I've talked about, but I don't know for sure. But I'm just like, okay, I had to watch these movies at one point. But maybe I didn't. I don't know. Screw it. We're going to talk about Harry Potter. We're going to talk about my favorite Harry Potter movie. Let's go. Why did it hide that? Emma Otter. Why did it hide that? That's weird. Why is it? Okay, why is it sized like that? Big deal, big deal, big deal, big deal, big deal, big deal, big deal. This is my favorite Harry Potter movie right here. Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry Potter, once again, another thing I grew up with and have loved for a long, long time, and I still love it today. Harry Potter is just such a great series with so much imaginative world building and great characters and story. And this is, in my opinion, the greatest Harry Potter movie. My favorite thing about this movie. Favorite thing about this movie. I gotta think. What is my favorite thing about this movie? Cinematography. My favorite thing about this movie is the cinematography. I love how, like, there's no, it's a constantly moving camera. It creates good dynamic for this movie, and it looks really cool. I love the cinematography in this film. And, of course, you got that great precursor of darkness that will come in the future Harry Potter movies. This one sets it up really well. It doesn't go full on dark, but it goes just the right amount to transition well into the next movie, which is pretty much full on dark at that point. And it only gets darker. But this was the movie that pushed into that kind of tone for the rest of the movies. Also, this was probably my favorite Harry Potter book as well, so of course it's going to be my favorite Harry Potter movie. This was a great movie. If you're looking for the best Harry Potter movie, you're looking for The Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the best Harry Potter movie. I would probably give this movie a 10 out of 10, maybe a 9 out of 10. I'd give it a 10. Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 movie. Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter, 10 out of 10. I'll give it a 10. I love it. So, my mom says, the Sorcerer's Stone is my favorite. I love the Sorcerer's Stone as well. I love all the Harry Potter movies. Talk about Emmett Otter. Emmett, I can't really talk much about that movie, actually, because I haven't watched that movie in years. You know, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. That's a freaking... that's a... hold up. Darby equal piss. That's a good one, Donovan. You got me. But Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, you can't really talk about that movie too much because I haven't seen it in a long, long time. And plus, I used to hate it when I was really little for some reason. I don't really know why I hated it so much, but I did. Now I don't really hate it because I remember watching a little bit of it and being like, okay, this movie's alright. That's about all I gotta say about Jug Band Christmas. I don't really know anything about the plot or anything along those lines, so I can't really contribute anything to that except for what I said. So yeah, I think this stream went on for a little over 40 minutes, and I think that is a healthy amount of time to end the stream, I guess. Donovan, why do you always come on towards the end of the streams? I don't know why you do that. So, I think that concludes our live stream movie discussion. I'm going to do a poll. I'm not going to put movie discussions again because we just did a movie discussion. I'm going to be sure to put something different this time. And of course, come on, guys. I put put your recommendations in the comments for a reason. I want to hear what you guys want to see me do for a stream. If it's something stupid like my thoughts on Undertale or something, like something really stupid, I'm not going to do it. But if it's a good suggestion and enough people like it, I will do it for a stream. So be sure to comment down below and check out other people's comments too, like them, and get suggestions for it. And as for updates, I'm going to go ahead and throw out some updates right now. My thoughts on, I already said it's returning. I'm going to begin writing the script this upcoming week. Also, Dr. Mew may return a tad early because I am probably going to rework some things to allow me to film it during this time. So, that's all the updates I got right now. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Keep tidy. And have a nice night. See you in my next stream. Bye.